The question of whether it's possible to read motive in a situation this sick yields a great deal of insight into what happened when I was under the illusion that John Lennon had really died and that the papers were not written under his inspiration. I wouldn't say authority. I don't see what authority they had to assassinate the Kennedys. But, you know, I have this Sherry Angel card from Jack Ruby's Carousel Club. And the people mongering for Ringo Starr were saying, you know, this man is just out hitting on women and collecting things. We can't have him, you know, unscrupulously clawing for dividends from a Zapruder film about the murder of my friend. And they're running CIA stories in the press about a construction worker who decked a photographer who took a picture of another construction worker who had fallen to his death to drum up sympathy for this evil eye from depicting me so that they could make off with the genocide pornography, which is what I was really investigating. And you wonder, what was I thinking, you know? I didn't know anything about John Lennon. If you were to find that something like Carousel Club was hauling women off to a secret cell and injecting them and killing them, you would want detectives to investigate. You know, the Manson family was apparently working with the CIA. You know, we now know that this man, Jack Ruby's psychiatrist, was Charlie Manson's psychiatrist in Haight-Ashbury, from O'Neill's book, Chaos. So, you know, the particulars of all of this stuff may very well be a specialty of research journalism, but you would want it to be investigated, is my point. So that's what I was doing. I was like, you know, they're hauling me away to Mount Desert Island, and it's suspicious because they tortured me. And turns out they even used the nerve agent on me. So all of the hullabaloo about me exploiting was to cover up for the people doing it and what had happened to me. You know, and John Lennon comes zooming in to say, ignore all that. You know, John Lennon's entourage at Warhol. You know, and then they do the very thing that they say was so terrible. I mean, they were start picking my brains, stealing my stuff, helping this museum thief from Pittsburgh, Shulman, lie about me, and make scurrilous, libelous songs that they played all over the world, indicating their take and Her Majesty's ESP about the whole thing. So, when I was in love with Rosa and breaking off from her to try to control the neuroplasm, which was causing me terrible suffering, I found these letters and said, didn't he stand for East and West? I'll talk to Midori. Well, that was all premeditated on their part. They were lay in wait for that idea. In fact, the girl who was scaremongering about me being pushy was a violinist, like Lisa Miles was a Sicilian violinist. And Goto comes and plays I Siciliani Vesper. So you see the hand of Trumpy tune, you know. Everything was Takes a Giant that night in the advertisements and stuff. So, you know, and they played the New World Symphony, which is one of Frippy Tune's favorites. So we know with D.T. on Stars and Black was Dallas, Texas, on the Trump and stuff. So they say this is the only way to save the world for Exxon. Well, that Xler was the name of one of their agents, Xler. Xler. They were Xlering, you know. They hauling. You shouldn't worry about her, you know. And they come up with a girl from premeditated Regal Masterpiece Theater from Warhol who was pushing herself on me. Really, really. I mean, she was really doing what Lisa Miles said I was doing, which was false and unfair about me. And she was sleeping with all of these grown men. She wouldn't stop. She had an IUD. And of all the people in the world who she says mistreated her or something. She says, me? I was just trying to get away from her. I introduced her to someone else. I climbed a tree to get away from her and her gang once. So all of this, was premeditated by people in NEVA Corporation who dramatized, she was being raped at first, but then she loved it, in their narrative about the pornography that they sell from London, makers of this script where everything is a dramatic element. Nothing is true in this case. And Penis Gabriel comes in and says, oh, it was an illusion machine up on Mount Desert Island. Well, the whole thing was an illusion machine, the whole thing. Everything that they were saying about Lenin and Reagan not knowing, and they had me in D.C. the day Reagan claims he was shot, and he comes out and waves to me, right? And they have a brochure, there's no such thing as objective reality, only what the jury believes. So you have to take Pentagon Disney and what Hollywood's pulling with a grain of salt. I mean, these were people who were declared subtly enemies of the United States, organizing within our communities to take control, take charge for their alien missions, like in Israel. Now, we do have humanitarian problems, and people are more aware of them across the board, and we have climate control problems. So, I'm on board with the journalistic community's determination to do something intelligent to alleviate the stress by stopping the fossil fuel industry. I love Greta Thunberg. I have nothing at all against her movement. I have nothing at all against her. I believe her that she is mystified as I am by this whole contraption. But it stands to reason that these people who are dominating over me and lying about me and held me in custody and closed the school just before I can graduate to get a bachelor's degree and have killed Susie Kennedy and all of this are not going to play nice in the future. They haven't played nice in the past. So I think it's reasonable and arguable that society should organize to prevent law enforcement's sympathies from falling into the hands of that kind of cultural Gestapo. So when you hear these people who are black saying, well, don't worry about it because that's a provincial norm, you should identify that they don't sympathize with me because I'm not black. They don't care if I get shot in the head because I'm not black. That's the way they think. People like that need to be excluded from the provincial norms of our society, not because they're black, but because they don't think that the laws are for everybody. So that's my opinion. And there are people who have been saying, what else could it be? It's my opinion. So the people say, well, he won't devote any proceeds that he gets if we admit that he was tortured, which I was, horribly, brutally, and repeatedly, horribly molested and tortured. I'm badly injured. My life expectancy is, shot to hell. I can't even eat the food I should be eating as a diabetic. I'm prematurely gray. I'm in pain all the time. I'm finally walking again, but I have all kinds of problems, neuroplastic problems, gastroenterological problems, vision problems, I'm deaf, all of these things pertain to me. I can't escape them. They say if somebody admits he was tortured and ups his income, why won't he guarantee that he throws it into the common pot? For one thing, these people are still in there. For another thing, I think I know what to do with income above and beyond taking care of myself, if there is anything above and beyond that. I don't need to be told this is still the United States. This is still civilization. I'm not the one stealing from the museum. They are. They don't like the idea of me having something that I can sell, that the proceeds don't go directly to them, because they're sitting on top of a lot of illegal genocide porno that goes back to when they held me in bondage as a kid. It's scary. All I was doing was trying to find out where they were hauling somebody off to in the midst of a nightmare.